Go interactive with X-Ray, where we bring trading experts to you live in the platform. Choose sessions, watch live market analysis, and catch up on your favorite market insights anytime. Ask questions and go one-to-one with leading experts on gold, oil, FX, crypto, indices, and equities. X-Ray, your very own analysis team, right at your fingertips. That's higher trading from MarketsX. Discover how some of the top executives are trading their own companies with our Insider Trades tool. See who's been buying or selling stock and what their trades say about insider sentiment. Use this unique big data tool to make more informed stock trades. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
What's happening, beautiful people? Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Europe, and welcome everyone to a new busy day in the financial markets. Following the latest news coming from OPEC Plus meeting yesterday, crude oil shed over $4 on the U.S. trading session, trading as low as $73 per barrel. OPEC and its partners were unable to agree to return 400,000 barrels a day to the market starting in August, but the United Arab Emirates sought to also have its production baseline increased from 3.1 million barrels a day to 3.8 million barrels, and that was the sticking point with Saudi Arabia. With mixed signals coming from the markets and COVID cases increasing worldwide, the supply-demand concept steps on fragile territory, and while some analysts already saw oil prices trading as high as $100 per barrel this year, others are a bit more pessimistic, stating that if that was to happen, most probably there will be a big shake-off on the markets prior to that. With crude oil inventories in sight, traders are waiting for a direction from the oil markets, and with a busy economic calendar, let's see which that direction will be. Will crude oil reach $100 per barrel this year? That is the question. More about this topic with Rian Hobson, commodities trader and the host of a Bull Markets talk show from Cape Town, South Africa. Coming up. Right, Rian Hobson, everyone, from Cape Town, South Africa. How are you, Rian, first of all? Welcome to the show.
I'm good, Andrew. Thanks a lot for having me again.
A pleasure to have you here every time, because you're the kind of guy that knows what he's talking about. So I'm very, very pleased to have you here every time. How is the situation in South Africa in terms of COVID, Rian? Still in lockdown?
Yes, we're still in lockdown 4, level 4. The numbers are actually increasing daily. With the peak, I think it was the peak on 26,000. That was now on the 3rd of July. Yesterday's numbers come in at I think about 15,000. And but the situation for the tourism sector, that is actually where it hurts the most. Restaurants that have been closing, and that's just a bit difficult.
Yeah, that has happened all over the world. Now, in Cyprus, the situation is very similar. We see cases increasing every day. We are approximately at 1,000 cases a day right now. And 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, we were only looking at 50 cases or below. Yeah, the good news is that we don't see the death toll being high whatsoever. Yes, so it's an easier one, but still people are getting infected and the infections are increasing every day. Now, yesterday we saw something we don't see very often on the markets, a drop of $4 in the oil price after the UAE disagreed with OPEC Plus in terms of adding more production to the markets. Were you caught in the crossfire yesterday, Rian?
I actually needed to cut the losses later on. I was expecting that the oil prices would increase because of the deal that didn't break through. So I thought that we're going to see like $80. And but then the market were deciding like, listen, this is not good because then it's going to go for one man on his own. Everybody's going to pump whatever he wants for the OPEC members. And that is what the market was seeing yesterday. And that is where the oil prices were dropping. And obviously, with me, with my losses, I was in with the Canadian against the US dollar, Australian gold, and also oil as well. So I needed to actually to eat some humble pie.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm still in markets, but I'm trading forex nowadays. I'm still going for a weaker euro, but let's see what's going to happen. Now, earlier on, we saw a very interesting movement on the crude oil markets. Look at the charts. Yeah, this is the big drop that happened yesterday. Yeah, it reached support level somewhere there around the 73.11, 73.10. We saw a bit of gains today, and look what happened an hour ago. Big jump from that 50 moving average, yeah, all the way down to the 73.10, where the support level was. What's your take on this one?
It looked like that number is actually a very good support number there. But honestly speaking, because of the clouds that is now over the UAE and also with Saudi Arabia, it's a bit touch and go. And also we have an FOMC meeting that comes on later.
Yes.
For me, honestly, I'm actually still in with a uptrend for actually oil and also for the Canadian dollar. But that is what I hope now, that they will get to agreement, because the market is just fearing the fact that if one man go on his own, everybody will just pump whatever he wants to. And that is the fear for the market currently.
Yeah, and we also have the situation with Iran and the US. And if Iran decides to come back to the round table, they will bring on the table about 1 million barrels per day. So that should help a bit with the supply and demand. Now, with the economic recovery still fragile worldwide and increasing COVID cases, do you think we will get back to the same demand we had pre-COVID this year, Rian?
I personally think we will get a spike up because everybody wants to travel, everybody wants to get out. So I think when the COVID restrictions are basically relaxed, I think that is where we'll get a sharp burst in the oil prices, and maybe also, I don't think commodities, but I think in oil, because people want to travel. I think your lumber prices and those type of things will not go with the oil price. But I think clearly the oil price will go up because people want to travel. And then later on, it's going to simmer down backwards again. So it will be a short burst, and then it will get back to normality. And I think we might get to your average where it is 100 million barrels. But I don't think it will be sustained on that peak. It will definitely come down.
Right. Some analysts say that the world is short of roughly 2 million barrels per day based on current production and demand. And without an agreement between UAE and OPEC Plus, about 5.8 million barrels a day will remain off the markets, while for now the oil is taken from storage. Now, this is what basically pushes the oil prices higher. Now, if this continues, we might see oil prices reaching the $100 per barrel like it did in 2014. How will this impact the average person, Rian?
I think it will be quite devastating if it gets to that point. Obviously, you will have central banks that will definitely put on the brakes by lifting up the interest rate. I can just actually reverse back to South Africa when it was about $100 a barrel. The interest rates in South Africa, that is now the repo rate. It was at approximately at about 10%. And obviously, if you add on what the banks are lending, which is +3, so it means interest rates for the man on the street will be 13%. So if that is the case, especially new home buyers in South Africa and also with high inflation as well, I think that could be quite a catastrophe for a lot of South Africans and also people across the world.
Yes, fair enough, because the world hasn't actually recovered fully after the pandemic, and the supply and demand game, it's entering a very, very thin line. Now, let's have a quick look at the charts. We're looking at crude oil WTI on a monthly chart. Yes, so every candlestick represents 1 month. We're looking at it trading right now at $73.86. What a big pickup in the last few months. But have a look in the left-hand side. Yeah, we saw these prices being hit in 2014. in October, November 2014, or even sooner than that. Do you think the world basically is prepared, is ready to pay that much so fast after still the economies are crippled after the virus?
I personally think not yet. It's a very uneven recovery, I would say. As I was touching on the services sector, especially in South Africa and obviously across the world as well. You have that sector that is being battling, and then you have other sector that is going up, which is now your digital world. So it's a very uneven recovery. And I think definitely if oil prices are spiking up that high, then definitely, I can say definitely we are not prepared for that. And also, that's just to add one thing. What is actually for me surprising in this whole oil thing is that how slow the US oil is coming back on stream. That for me is actually quite strange, because normally OPEC had a vendetta against the US shale producers, and obviously it was basically on them the whole entire time. And now, all of a sudden, they are fighting amongst each other, and the US shale is gone. And the US shale is not actually coming back on stream, because normally that relieve the pressure of the oil price. But I don't see that actually at all.
Yeah, the US hasn't started pumping more, but the US is producing about 2 million barrels per day. So they could, let's say, increase that very easily. Yeah, they have over 90 rigs, I think, pumping.
Absolutely.
Right. Very important resistance level at the current market price for crude oil WTI. Yeah, around the 73, 77, 78 mark. That's where the resistance level is. If we're going to see that level broken to the upside, then probably we're going to see a rally pushing the oil price towards the $100 mark. Right. Rian, thank you very much for your input today. Sorry, I cut you off. Did you want to say anything?
No, it's just for the FOMC meeting for tonight. That you just need to be very careful for tonight, because that thing can jump in any direction. But rather wait for the minutes, and then afterwards you can put your trade in.
Yes, and of course, tomorrow, crude oil inventories, as the markets were delayed by one day due to the 4th of July long weekend that America had. So, keep an eye on the markets. Keep an eye on crude oil. Are you still going to trade crude oil this week, or you're taking a breather?
Oh no, I'm on crude oils. I can't miss that one out. I hope I'm right this time. So I'm still in it.
All right. Okay. Now, Rian, remember to trade responsibly, and may all your trades be in the money. Thank you so much for your input today, and I'm looking forward to see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. See you soon.
All the best. Take care. Right, ladies, gentlemen, traders, we had Rian Hobson with us from Cape Town, South Africa. We're going to take 30 seconds, and then we're going to come back live with the charts of the day, the signals of the day, and let's see what else is happening on the financial markets on this beautiful Wednesday, 7th of July, 2021. Stay tuned. We're coming back live in 30 seconds.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Right, beautiful people. We are about 15 minutes away from the U.S. markets open. The U.S. stock market seems set to open a bit higher today, with the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 up 0.1% pre-markets open, and the Nasdaq futures were also up 0.4%. Nasdaq futures were lifted by sustained demand for Amazon, which rose nearly 5% yesterday after the Pentagon said it would cancel its decision to award a $10 billion cloud computing contract. While the contract itself won't be resubmitted for tenders, the work is now likely to be divided between Amazon and the original winner of the tender, Microsoft. Big names, big things happening in the markets. Now, we're going to have the API crude oil inventories later on today. Okay, and the tightness is likely to be underlined later when the American Petroleum Institute will release its weekly estimate of U.S. Oil and product inventories. Now, talking about that, we're looking at crude oil WTI gaining on the European trading session today and falling sharply after it got rejected by that 50 moving average at 74.54. Okay, and retesting the support levels at $73.10. RSI stochastic pointing to the downside. Not a lot is happening ahead of the API inventories. And of course, we're going to have the crude oil inventories announced tomorrow. Now, let's see what's happening with the euro, guys. On the European trading session, we saw a weaker euro today pushing to the downside, currently trading at 118.12. Yeah, with the RSI stochastic still pointing downwards. Yeah, and the market creating lower lows as we get closer and closer to the opening bell. The pound had a very similar trajectory, gaining a bit on the European trading session today and being rejected by that 200 moving average at 138.45. Yeah, and as we get closer to the opening bell, we see the pound trading lower versus the US dollar at 138.14, with both RSI stochastic pointing to the downside. The USD JPY pair was mixed today on the European trading session. We saw a bit of gains in the morning, followed by a bit of weakness. And as we get closer to the opening bell, the dollar seems to be strengthening a bit, to be gaining a bit of confidence, let's say, trading at 110.67 with RSI pointing upwards from the 50% mark and stochastic still a bit undecided in the upper section of the chart. Let's see what's happening with the Aussie dollar, which seems to be following the European currencies, the euro and the pound, to the downside. After initially gaining a bit on the European trading session, we saw again a rejection from that 200 moving average. And an hour ago, we saw a sharp drop, pushing the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar all the way down to 0.7510. Yeah, with again RSI pointing downwards around the 50% mark and stochastic looking to the downside as well. So the downturn for the euro, the pound, and the Aussie dollar might continue today, as the US dollar might be gaining some strength as we get closer and closer to the FOMC meeting minutes agenda. Now, quick look at the USD CAD, which rallied a couple of trading sessions ago, giving back some gains on the European trading session and currently trading at 124.41 versus the Canadian dollar. RSI stochastic pointing upwards. We might see another rally of the US dollar today if the FOMC minutes agenda will be positive. Now, let's have a quick look at the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, guys, which both benchmarks for the American economy closed the day in green yesterday, very close to new record highs once again, with the S&P 500 closing at 43.54, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average closing at 34.581.45. Right, they're both expected to open higher today. We can see the price action moving above that 200 moving average. Yeah, and above the 50 moving average as well. There we go for the S&P 500. So the strength in the American stock markets still remains according to the charts. We're looking at the US dollar index futures now on a 60-minute chart, trading at 92.582 a few minutes prior to the opening bell, with both indicators, RSI stochastic pointing upwards, yeah, and indicating a potential strength of the US dollar once again. Now, on the back of a weaker US dollar on the previous trading session, gold futures have recovered as well, trading at around $1,803.35 pre-opening bell today. The downside is the price is looking to the downside. We're probably going to see a retest at 1798.75, yeah, where that 50 moving average is. Right, but the good news is gold has managed to come back to the 1,800 psychological level, which it had for quite some time. Right, let's look at silver futures and see what's happening with silver this afternoon. We have slow charts. There we go. $26.42 for silver this afternoon after settling nice and easy above that 200 moving average. RSI pointing upwards, stochastic pointing downwards. There is a bit of divergence between indicators at the bottom of the chart. Let's see what the markets open will bring us in less than 10 minutes from now. Meanwhile, we're looking at Bitcoin, guys, the famous Bitcoin, which cannot manage to get back to the 35,000 mark. It's currently trading at just short of that at $34,735. The good news is that the price is well supported by both moving averages. The bad news is we don't see higher highs. If anything, we see lower highs on the charts. There we go. Yeah, and we see some higher lows as well. So we're getting to a key point. Yeah, in the price action. A breakout is expected to happen either to the upside or to the downside. Let's see what the markets will decide. Ethereum is currently trading at $2,376.01, gaining a bit after the massive sell-off that happened in the last couple of weeks, which pushed Ethereum price all the way down to $1,730 somewhere last week. Yeah, good news for Ethereum. We see it strengthening, and probably traders will eye for a 100% correction. Yeah, eyeing for that $2,645 level. Yeah, for a get out of the markets, for a cash out. Right, let's have a quick look at some trading signals provided by investing.com. We see strong sell indications from investing.com for the euro and the pound versus the US dollar. We see USD JPY and USD CHF with strong buy indications for the day, and then the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar, again, strong sell indications. Yes, so that is the correlation out there. Now let's have a quick look at commodities, guys, and see what do we expect from commodities, at least before the US markets open today. Right, we're looking at strong sell indications for gold and silver as we get close to the opening bell. We're looking at 4 strong buy indications for copper, and crude oil, WTI, and Brent oil seem to be neutral for now, but if anything, they're pointing more to the downside than to the upside. Natural gas seems to be in a sell-off as well as U.S. wheat. This is what's happening so far, guys. We have less than 5 minutes to the U.S. markets open today. Remember, we're going to have the FOMC meeting minutes announced very, very soon. So the volatility on the US dollar might pick up. And then if that happens, then we might see the euro, the pound, and the Aussie dollar pointing to the downside, at least for the US trading session. Now, if you're looking for a regulated, strong brokerage to trade with, guys, I'm going to have a link in the description down below. Yeah, it's the link from our partners at Markets.com, our sponsors. Worldwide regulated company with where the deposit page is not a one-way street. Okay, they have an amazing trading platform where you get trading signals directly on the trading platform. Right, this is it from my side. Join me again tomorrow for the crude oil inventories, guys. And until then, remember to trade responsibly and may all your trades be in the money.